And our mics are unmuted. Look at that. It did it automatically. Everybody, there's only one buddy out there right now at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and.
You got to go over to YouTube and do your thing.
I'm already there and doing it.
I'm going to watch on Facebook or YouTube. I don't care. Whatever you guys want me to do.
It doesn't matter to me where you go. You can go anywhere you want. Let me edit this.
Or YouTube. I don't care. Oh, my God. Whatever you guys want me to do. Okay.
We got a thing going somewhere.
Take your photo by the next level. Wow. Nope. I turned it off.
Okay. Show more. Everybody. 6 people here. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
I'll get with you shortly.
Just welcome.
Whoops.
Okay.
EXORCISM. That's good enough, and I'll come back to you later and edit all that stuff. Not for children. This and that. Got to get all my stuff done here.
Sounds good.
A mistake.
Got my spray.
You got your reading spray, do you? I got my big ice bucket over here.
I got my spray for my throat.
Gee, I have nothing.
There's gotten to be a lot missing from the transcript because I mean, if we were to read this word for word and go through it, what are you looking at? Maybe 20 minutes, 25 at the most.
Mm-hmm.
We were there a lot longer than that.
Yeah, I imagine half of the stuff's missing. But it's better than nothing.
Which just emphasizes that if that tape is out there, you need to find it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if that's the tape that's in Father Al's thingy.
Wouldn't that be something? And I can see Alex Tannis or the NYU people giving him a copy.
Oh,
I'm requesting a copy.
Queen Bee Jade, I kind of like that. Hi, Jade. Laura Lee, Kelly. Hi, Paul. I see you with a different name. And Carol. And other people were hiding in the background.
Woo! We got some hide and seekers.
You know what? I forgot my extension cord. This cord keeps wrapping around my foot, tries to choke me.
Well, we have like 35 people that are supposed to be here, so if you got to go get your cord, that's fine. We'll wait.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, I got to do something here before we get started because I keep getting notifications. And I'm not going to put that. Okay, notifications.
I don't know if you can see the snow outside, but it snowed here.
Oh.
You got a little bit, but it didn't do anything.
How do you spell YouTube? YouTube keeps notifying me of their nonsense.
This is playing crazy. All those gaps in the pages. That's just absolutely nuts.
That's why we're going to go through this, Paul, one day and tighten it up and correct it. And not correct it, but correct it grammatically. We're not going to change any of the words.
Right.
Unless it's an obvious misprint or an obvious mispronunciation.
Yeah, I haven't the slightest idea of who could have typed this. I mean, was it somebody from Father Al? Was it somebody with Alex Tannis? Was it one of the students? I would doubt that. Who knows? But I mean, this. When I talked to Betty again, she asked me, and this is so odd that she would ask me this. It's like what Kelly said. Maybe time is, what'd she say about time? Timing is everything. Alex Tannis's niece.
Oh.
When she sent me a message back, and then I talked to Betty. Betty called me back again. That's 2 times Betty's called me from NYU. 2 times on her own accord. I didn't even leave her a message. Just called me. And she said, let me ask you one thing. I'm just trying to gather all my thoughts together about the Dandy House. And she said it like she knew what she was talking about. She
Mm-hmm.
said, "Are you aware of a Dr. Osis?" And I said, I don't. I'm afraid to say anything to you right now because you might be saying I've got something of his because I would fall over and die while I'm talking to you. And
Yeah.
she said, "No, I do have a couple articles here on Dr. Osis, and this is from Alex Tanis's not archives. Oh my God, collection of something." I said, "Well, we took a photograph, no eating. We took a photograph, no pills. We we took a photograph and sent it to Alex. Alex and Father Al sent it to Dr. Osa. She said, "Well, I'm going to get into that. I want to see all about that." But she's going to read a lot of stuff when it comes to Osa. So we'll go from there. But all right, there's enough people here to explain what's going on. This is the transcript of the 1974, blessing of the house, cleansing of the house. And there's a lot of craziness happening here. Glasses change time. There's a lot of craziness happening here in the beginning. A lot of words missing. I'll show you the first page so you can get an idea. And I'll show you the second page. It's even better. Look at the gaps in the page. Let me cover the back side up. Look at the gaps in the page. There's a lot of it's a very bad cassette recording, and they did what they could. They did the best they could with what they had. But right in the beginning is I'm going to be the guinea pig and start this. I wish I'd given it to Jonathan. He's better at it than I am. So let me bring my mouse over there, bring my mic a little closer, and I'll be reading and not looking at you. Um, this was entitled Ghost House, and I don't know why it was entitled that. Uh, it's in Father Al's archives too. But here we go. A very
Is
young
that where you
girl.
got this from?
What?
Huh? What?
I asked, is that where you got this from?
No, I got it from Alice. But
Alice in
it says
Wonderland.
Ghost House in his archive. Remember we were looking online the archives? It says Ghost House in there.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's got it too. But I got this. Alice mailed this to me. Wow, 13 years ago. Because we gave it to Mr. Rambacher, and it mysteriously fell into his hands in 2000. Actually, that would be 2011, I think, because 2010 is when I think I got it from Kelly. So that's real, or not Kelly. I got that's her last name,
Alice Tanis Kelly.
Alice Tanis Kelly.
And I'm hearing
Okay,
an
here
echo.
we go.
Never heard of her.
I don't hear an echo. Shut up.
Okay.
Never heard of her. You and your never heard of her. Every time somebody's name is mentioned, never heard of her.
Never heard of them.
A very young child whose parents are having a discussion concerning whether this person is ill or not. It is a girl who is lying in bed at a very young age. She is calling for some kind of help. This is Alex Tanis talking, as if she has a fever. She's having no response whatsoever. Their argument is between the husband and wife. It seems to indicate that a travel period of time that it will take, and then it says there's noise on the mic. So there's a lot of stuff missing there. The energy that is left behind here is the energy of a great agony of a child and a great argument between both parents. The child seems to say that there is something wrong. There are screams going on. The energy is still in this room very strongly. That's an adverb, isn't it? Why would he say strongly at the end of his sentence? Anyhow, now suddenly the birds in the cage will be silent and it will try to move, but it will not be able to move from where it is. He's talking about the energy, I do believe. And you notice as the noise happens, the silence will come very shortly. There's a gap in the transcription here. And it begins with energy is now being lifted, is being lifted from the scene. And this is a sign that the energy is here. I am now in a very dead cold. As soon as I leave the room, The chill is even getting stronger now. The birds will remain quiet as I leave and draw the energy from the room where nothing else is going to happen. The only thing that it says is that the birds will remain quiet until the energy is completely released. I don't know what he's talking about there. The only
Paul,
thing that it says,
didn't the dainties have birds, pet birds?
yeah, they had two birds.
Oh, maybe that's what he's. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I understand. I know where the bird, what the bird, what he's talking about there. But why does he say the only thing that it says is that the birds will remain? What the energy's saying? The birds are going to remain quiet. Okay, let's not get into things too deeply. The bird is immobile. It will not be able to move from where it is standing until the energy is released. The girl, by the way, did not die, goes on living, but there is a great psychological effect. Another blank area of about 4 or 5 words. All the energy that is in this room is, I don't know what, something that they couldn't figure out. Certain people did come over to visit this person, and when she was ill, there were bad energies left in the room. And going through this, that's that. I don't know if Alex was talking in gibberish or what, but then there says silence. We go back to the bird. The bird will start very shortly and continue. Will flutter and will move as the energy is decreased. The chill is leaving me. It will not return to the original state until I leave because the energy is with me. And he says the bird moves as I leave. Energy, the bird will. The bird is not crippled and will not die. It's just that it is a sign that I am conducting the energy. It said that I have to leave before the. What the hell's with the bird? It said that I have to leave before the bird. My energy is so strong that the bird is not. There are other energies in the room which are also affecting me because it seems that at one point a young boy of 18 or 19 entered the house. He is now deceased. His energy is also in the house. Now I want to hear whether the bird itself, I don't know, blank blank thus far. Wow. The bird is still immobilized, very long blank, still here. I have to take a little longer to pick up that energy of the other person. The other person, by the way, blank, within the confines of this house, and there's a lot of space here. Now notice the bird has started. The energy is almost completely released. You will also notice that the bird in the other room is also perfectly as quiet. Primarily that the same is also affecting the other bird. I picked up the energy from here. I will now proceed room and out. And then the crew says cut. And then somebody said what happened. And then the crew's talking. The crew talks. And then at one point, the crew's talking about microphones. Will this mic work better? Just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Then Alex Tanner said, do you want the dog to come upstairs with us? The dog that was outside. That one. And the crew said, yes. I don't remember a dog ever being. Well, this is before the Exorcism. So I don't know. Then we go back to the microphone again. The case is over here. Do you want the case? Alex Tanner said yes. And then Alex Tannis again begins on this one. I want to start in. The vibrations are that of a very elderly, lonely woman. This woman is in her 90s, and the energy that she has left behind are very specific energies that she seems to have had, and the energies are the certain things that has disquieted her over a number of years. Among these are certain deaths of people who have passed away, in which the energies were even influencing her, and that she is trying to release them. Okay, and to a certain point, she did release some of these energies in here. Among the energies are that of a child who has died, and it seemed that has witnessed certain things that happen. The other energy is of a person of, I would say 12 or 13 that was raped and killed. I am not saying that this happened in this house, but the energies are in the house. In other words, they have happened in the area or in the surrounding area. And it seems that the energies have converged into this place. Therefore, in some way, which is not yet understandable to me, but they are here. And the young girl was raped by a man who was a bachelor. I'm getting chills because this is taking me to another place. The young girl was raped by a man who was a bachelor, and the most incredible thing about it all was that he hated women very much. And the aspect of this is here. Now, there is also not conflicting, but another kind of energy which is good. But she is trying to combat this, and it's someone who died very tragically in the area a number of years later. And these two energies are conflicting and trying to sort of become positive instead of negative. I have to go to the bank. Excuse me, everybody, a minute. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, where did I leave off? I'm not saying in other words. Therefore, in some way, it is not understandable to me, but they are here. And the young girl was raped by a man who was a bachelor and sort of incredible. He hated women. Now there's also not conflicting, but another kind of energy, which is good. She is trying to combat this, and it's of someone who died very tragically in the area a number of years later. And these two energies are conflicting and trying to sort of become positive instead of negative. There's a kind of, again, the chills are hitting me, and the latter part, who was killed by an accident, which was very tragic. Ah, the scene comes in not foul play, a young man who was 18 or 19. Both are 18 or 19. There's a chase that takes place, and in this chase, one of them gets hurt. The other one, by the way, has suffered greatly in the area and is still suffering today. I believe that the person is still living today, the other person that is involved in this. For some reason, all these energies are converging in here or in the area, causing all this energy. Why this house has been able to pick up these energies, it says that the house seemed to be built on a lot of water. And the water is holding on to a lot of these energies and the sound energies, and it seems to be confined in this spirit of this house. And that is why many things are happening here. Now, this elderly woman who knows a lot about this, and she has never told. Now, there are other things which she carries with her concerning very unusual deaths that have happened, and the deaths seem to begin again, not taking place in this house, but deaths that she realizes that happened, and they are not accidents. To be exact, they number about 7 or there. I would say thereabouts. over a number of period of years, and by years I mean over a number of, let's say, 100 years. Now, some of these she has been able to pick up on her own, which she seems to be extremely intuitive about, and was wrapped up into this. The woman was not crazy nor senile, as some of the people have said. It seems that at one point it was decided that she was going to be put away, but it does not tell me at this point that she has ever been put away. The entity of the woman, the information that she has seemed to have died with her. There's a lot of energy that she has placed I'm sorry. There's a lot of energy that she had paced this floor back and forth, and she had often come down to here to this window. As I am walking now, the chills seem to be hitting me, especially out into here. I don't know where he's talking about. He's walking throughout the house. It seems she was able to somehow see quite closely a lot of the energies, and it seems that she attracted a lot of these energies by her aging years, which is something which I have not yet been able to understand. But in past times, I have seen this happen, that in the latter years of people, in the latter years, people who are thought to be paranoid or schizophrenic, what they have done, they have picked up a lot of these energies that surround a certain area, and therefore the person seems to have taken another form or certain things they were battling, and therefore were not really something of senility or crazy or anything else. It's just that they had the power to pick up the energy and it was within them. Even with this light so strong, I am now freezing, as if really freezing, to a point where it seems to be appearing more and more into the area. There also there has also been the death of a man in this house, in this room. I wish I knew what room he was talking about. A death which was very drastic, death of agony, but it is not murder or suicide. The energy is also in this place. Now we must realize that there are a lot of things that are happening on of these energies. What I am now going to do is pick up the energy that is here, that is the coldness, that is in me, so that I can release it. You will note that the sound of the energy tell me that you will no longer hear the crickets from outside. The energy is being picked up not quite good. Whew. I wish I had given you a couple more pages. The light effect is that the energy was picked up and then lost, that the energies have gone on and off, which has caused this light to happen. All right. The energy has now been picked up, picked as you see the lights go out. They will have to return. The energy force is forcing me to say that it does not want to leave. There it goes now. It is. We are ready for it to leave. It has now left. I have now picked it up, and I am going to return to this as we go along. The light will remain, and I am now going to go into the house. Can we cut, please? And then the crew is talking. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I was a little exhausted here. Then a man said, no, you weren't against it. Alex Tannis, the energy is here, but her fiance has a very tragic death. The energies are extremely strong in the sense that there are not hate energies, but sorrow energies that have happened. And the reaction is that she does not want the energies to leave the place. The tragic. What has happened here is that the person drowned, the male person drowned by a tragic death. And the woman has never gotten over it. And please, anybody who's listening, don't say he drowned in the pond, because this was happening many, many, many years before the pond was put in. The woman has locked herself in this room. Now, I know he's in Mary's room. I remember him talking about Mary's room and the woman locking herself in there. From time to time, it would not come out. There is the sorrow. Yes. Why? Why not? You must, you must, you must. Time is gone. You must. It cannot be. A child cannot be born. All right. I am going to force you. You must leave. You must leave. The answer is no, you cannot stay. You cannot stay. You cannot stay. Stay. Whispering, you must leave. All right. Heavy breathing, gasping. All right. Heavy. Now, I don't know if that's him heavy breathing, gasping. Horrible, horrible transcription. Let's go inside. Let's go. Let's go. All right. The burn is there. I know you burned me. I realize it, but I'm going to take you with me. No matter what happens, I'm going to take you with me. Kind. All right. I'm holding on to you. Go ahead. No, you're not. You're not going to take over. I'm going to have you and I'm going to take you with me at any cost. All right, coming. Let's go. Let's go. I want to break you. Break you. Gasping in brackets. Now that tells me that he was gasping. Let's go. What happened? And the man said you were, and this is unintelligible. Alex Tannis, boy, I feel like I'm a heavy with weight. And then the boy, I'm glad that's over with. Oh boy, yeah, it's going out right now. Okay, now they're recording. Yes, I'm recording. I want you to hear some of the comments on this one. And father comes in and says, "Well, you were first speaking in the same tone, in the same way as you did down here, in a very calm way, and sort of commenting on the different vibrations that you got. And then all at once you stopped for a moment, paused for a moment, and then you start. You were completely unaware of us, and you started talking to the entity that was there, whom you had described as a blind girl, a young blind girl, and that it was very evident that the spirit did not want to leave. And you kept saying to it that it had to leave. And we couldn't hear, of course, the spirit, but we could get the implication that it was determined to stay there. And you were saying with more force each time that it should leave. And then as you did this, your whole body began to contort, especially your face, your hands, your fingers curled up, and your arms began to, your mouth began to open and contort, and you were in a deep trance. I've seen this under deep hypnosis, the same thing. And you were in a very, very deep trance, and the energy was fighting you completely, and you began to sway and to start to fall backwards. And I put my arm around you and began to hold you, and then you just simply seemed to just drop almost down to the weight was almost more than I could hold. I had to brace myself, and I could barely hold you up, and you remained that way for a while there until the very end. I don't know how much else to mention, except I did notice too, as you walked into the room, at least one or two lights flickered on the outside. I noticed that, in fact, my eyes went out to look at that. But whatever it was putting up a tremendous battle, and you felt. Then it says completely exhausted, but you didn't give up. And I wouldn't say after I put my hands completely exhausted, but you didn't give up. And I would say after that, I put my hand around you and I said before to support you, but also I felt to try perhaps to give you some of my energy. And after I did that, you seemed to be a little stronger and you seemed to continue the fight. But there was one moment there when your voice went very low and it seemed as if the spirit was going to win out. It really did. And then you sort of took up the fight again and managed to absorb the energy. Alex Tannis, as far as now, I feel great. I was burning. When I came out of it, I was burning like hell, pardon the expression. I realized there was a lot of deep breathing when I came out of it, as if I had won out, and I had. And the question could be asked: did I win out, or didn't I? The question I feel I did because where am I? If I hadn't, there would probably have been a very large scream from me and a woman's voice, which would have said she won out. So from the reaction, I can see my own become, because I don't feel any effect of her, around. I feel very strongly. I know that I picked up the energy. I think that the weight energy, Father, seems to realize that I had fought it and that I was holding on to it and that I wasn't going to let her take me over. Father, great, great. I can hear him saying that. I can hear that little voice of his. Alex, there was no time that I felt that I was in any danger because I know that I am always protected in some way. This is the first time that I did go this far or that something has happened to me. The other was merely conversation. Father, you said there was some more conversation. Do you recall what the conversation was? How did it appear to you? Wow. And this is Father speaking. Well, it seemed as if you were just telling this entity that it had to go and it kept refusing, and you kept saying that it had to go, it had to go. And in one instance, you said something about, no, there can't be a baby or something of that nature. We'll have to play the tape back to see, but there was some reference to a baby or about a baby. I don't remember exactly. Alex Dan is speaking now. Wish you could speak with somebody else's voice.
You're doing well.
This is Alex. Do you remember where this scene took place? Did I say something, anything concerning it? Father, oh yes. This is Father Al. Oh yes, you mentioned that the girl had a boyfriend who died. It must have been on the one who was in love with. And he died by drowning. And that she became neurotic and she wouldn't leave her room and she remained in her room. And there was a tremendous amount of sorrow there. I don't recall much else. That's what you were saying beforehand. This is Alex Dennis. I was asking whether it was energy that had come from the other woman or was it energy that the house in that room? Is that what I was wondering? See, I don't recall any of this. This is Father Al. I don't recall myself at this point. Alex Tanner said, yes, we'll probably have to play the tape over again to find out. I feel great. I feel as normal as you know. I just hope that none of you. And then Father broke in. Oh, another thing that you did say, and it will come to me in the tape. I know that you burned me. Is that right? Alex asked him. Father said, yes, you said that. I know that you burned me, so maybe that was the one. And then Alex, he said, that's strange. I don't recall that. Father said, and you said that I know that you burned me. It wasn't quite. It wasn't too loud. It wasn't. It says quite, Quuite.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't
though.
quiet. It wasn't too loud. I heard it. I was right near your face. Alex Tannis, I don't recall any much of the conversation. I know that at one point I was beginning to feel a dead weight and I didn't know what was going to happen. But from then on, I don't remember. I don't know. I really don't know. You were there, and what did you observe at the end as you were watching anything? A man said basically what Father said. Alex Tannis, what Father said, how about you? What? Man, that concurs with what I saw. Father said, did you notice me bracing myself, the weight? I couldn't hold you, and I'm very strong, and he was very strong. Alex Tannis, that heavy? Father, oh yes. Then a man said, apparently you were holding him up, and you had a very little control over where you were falling. Alex Tannis, okay, that's about all I can say.
Okay, Paul,
Page
take
9.
Take a break.
Page
Well,
9.
I've actually got to go to the bank right up the street. Half a block up
Okay.
the road. Can
All
You
right.
want Lincoln and I to take it from here?
Yeah.
Do you have? You don't have these pages.
Yeah.
We
I
have
got the
we have
pages
the rest
and
of
I'm
this
going right
transcript.
now. So
go to the
mute your
bank
mic.
and
So mute your mic so we
12
don't hear the
minutes.
dogs.
12 minutes to the bank and back.
Okay.
we're
Thank
timing
you.
Ready? Somebody in chat, time him.
I'm going to
Go.
zoom.
How do you feel through this and while it was going on? Do you believe Alex is legit? I think that he thought Alex was legit. Okay. A man says, did he mention that your hands were like, and then there's a space, Alex Tannis? Yes. What is it? A man says, that's all right. You got it filmed. The man then says again, your hands, you were curled up, Alex says, as if I was fighting someone. The man says, well, it was like a struggle, definitely a struggle. You were twisting like this. And Alex says, oh my God. And the man says, you will see yourself in the video. Alex says, oh, David, you look like you were out of it. Crew says, okay, we're ready over here. I'm going to get and then there's a space. All set. Okay, where is the blank? Can you get the other cables under the couch? I don't want any more. It will just be in the way. All right, somebody will have to follow the camera and pull cable. All right, I'll do that. Is this enough cable? There's some space. Can you rest a while? I can't move around. Okay, are you ready? very, very close to it. Are you going to be shooting through that door, or are you going to be stationary? I think we'll have no problems. I don't know if there's more than one person talking here, but they don't indicate who's talking right here. Mark your levels. Talk about the same level. Father says, I will be talking perhaps about this level. Lord, we are gathered here to ask you to release all evil energies and forces that are here among us and to something, etc. Okay, any other members that should be present? No. All these are the members. Is it okay on level? Keep talking. It's not saying who's saying what, so I'm just reading the words. And the level on the whole thing will be, I'll try to keep it at that level. Are you going to follow all right, there will be about 2.5 pages of prayers, and it shouldn't take too long. I heard your signal, but I don't know. Okay, want to do it again? Yep, got it. Mr. Tanis, yes, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can count as far as 10. After that, add another 0 and make it 100. Okay, now, Michael.
All right. So we're on page 10 of the transcript right now, and the crew starts talking. We're going to cut over that, but they're talking about the technical things that they want to do. And eventually they say, okay, I'm ready. I'll give them the directions as we're going along, okay? Michael, you shoot from this corner. So that Michael is not is somebody in the crew. Michael, you shoot from this corner, and you shoot from that corner. We'll all hold hands strongly and then roll when ready. Paul, rolling, action. By the way, in here, there's a Paul that I think is part of the crew, and then there's Paul Kenyon later on. Alex Tanis at this point says, let's hold hands together and start out with as strongly as we can. The reason behind this is so that we will pass the energy among us that is good and to release the energy that is evil, which both Father and I will accept from you. And at the same time, we'll keep into our minds that we want to release the good energy to those who are absent from the family, and that they will not be hurt by any of the evil energies that exist. So let us together press extremely hard our hands together. Lord, we ask thee to release all evil energies that are here among us and in this house and surrounding this house and the area. We also ask you to release the energy that is possessed by others who are away from us, who are members of the family, and to increase within them the energies which are good, so that may lead a good and peaceful life. We command this through thy Son, Lord Jesus Christ. Then there's silence. Father Aval says, prayer of exorcism. Glorious Prince of the celestial host, Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in the conflict which we have to sustain against the Prince of Darkness and against the rulers of this world of darkness, against the spirits of wickedness in high places. Come to the rescue of men whom God has created in his image and likeness, and who has redeemed at a great price from the tyranny of the devil.
Page 11. It is thou who Holy Church venerates as her guardian and her protector. Thou whom the Lord has charged to conduct redeemed souls into heaven. Pray therefore the God of peace to subdue Satan from beneath our feet, that he may no longer contain men captive or do injury to the church. Present our prayers to the Most High, that without delay they may draw his mercy down upon us. Seize the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. Bind him and cast him into the bottomless pit, that he may no more seduce the nation. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, strengthened by the intercession of the Immaculate Virgin Mary, Mother of God, our blessed Michael, and Archangel of blessed apostles Peter and Paul, and all of the saints, and all who are in the holy authority of our ministry, we confidently undertake to repulse the attacks and expel the devil. Let God arise and let his enemies be scattered, and let them that hate him flee from before his face. As smoke vanishes, so let them vanish away as wax melted before the fire. So let the wicked perish at the presence of God. Behold the cross of the Lord, free hands, free bands, and then there's a space of enemies. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the offspring of David that conquered. May thy mercy descend upon us as great as our hope in thee. We drive you from us, you may be, whoever you may be, unclean spirits, satanic powers, infernal invaders, wicked legions, assemblies, and sects, in the name by the virtue of our Lord Jesus Christ. You may be snatched away and may be driven from the church of God and from the souls redeemed by the precious blood of the divine man. Cease by your audacity, cunning serpent, to delude the human race, to persecute the church, to torment God's elect, and to sift them as wheat. This is the command made to you by the Most High God, with whom in your haughty insolence you shall pretend to equal. The God who will have all men to be safe and to come to the knowledge of the truth. God the Father commands you. God the Son commands you. God the Holy Ghost commands you. Christ commands you. The eternal Word of God made fresh, even to have our race outdone to your malice, pummeling self, becoming obedient unto death. He who has built his church on the firm rock and declared that the gates of hell shall not prevail against her, because he dwells with her all the days, even to the consummation of the world. The hidden virtue of the cross requires of him, as he does also the power of the mysteries of the Christian faith, the glorious Mother of God, the Virgin Mary, commands you, you by her humility and from the first moment of her immaculate conception trusts your proud head.
And this is Father Al continuing, page 12. The faith of the holy apostles, Peter and Paul, and of the apostles commands you. The blood of the martyrs, the pious intercession of all the saints commands you. Thus, cursed dragon, and you wicked legions, we abjure you by the living God, by the true God, by the holy God, by the God who so loved the world as to give his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him may not perish, but may live life everlasting. Cease deceiving human creature and pointing out to them the poison of eternal perdition. Cease harming the church and hindering her liberty. Retreat, Satan, inventor and master of all the deceased, enemy of man's salvation. Cede that place to Christ, in whom you have found none of your works. Cede the place to the only holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, acquired by Christ at the price of his life. Stoop beneath the all-powerful hand of God. Trembling, flee at the invocation of the holy name of Jesus. This name which causes hell to tremble, this name which the virtues and the powers and dominations of heaven are humbly submissive. This name which the cherubim and seraphim praise unceasingly, repeatingly, holy, holy is the Lord, the God of hosts. O Lord, hear my prayer, and let my cry come unto thee. The Lord be with thee, and with thy spirit. Let us pray. God of heaven, God of earth, God of angels, God of archangels, God of patriarchs, God of prophets, God of apostles, God of martyrs, God of confessors, God of virgins, God who has the power to give life after death and rest after work, because there is no other God than thee, and there can be no other. For thou art the creator of all things visible and invisible, of whose reign there shall be no end. We humbly prostrate ourselves before the glorious majesty, and we supplicate thee to deliver us from all the tyranny, the infernal spirits from their snares and their furious wickedness. O Lord, protect us by thy power, and to preserve us safe and sound, we beseech thee through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. From the snares of the devil, deliver us, Lord, that thy church may serve thee in peace and liberty. We beseech thee to hear us. That thou hast crushed down all enemies of the church, we beseech thee to hear us. Then Alex says, we command thee that all of this happens, that all of this be for the rest of our lives. And then there's a long period of silence.
And Alex Tanis continues, page 14. Mrs. Dandy, would you explain what happened to Beth after I sent her a piece of my hair? Were you having problems in the house? Miss, I think it's Mrs. Dandy. For some time, she had been hearing voices of a man and a woman talking about her. And after she got the hair, they were discussing you. I believe it was the woman who said they couldn't get her because Tanis was with her. And the woman said, we've got to find a way to get it off her, meaning the bracelet with the hair, I would imagine. Alex then says, and she has been carrying that bracelet with the hair ever since then. That was a question. Was there any harm that has ever come to her during this period? Mrs. Dandy says no. Alex says none whatsoever. Michael, would you tell us about your accident that you had as much as you can remember, and we will see if we can fill in from there. Michael says, Michael Dandy, October 20th, a friend of mine and I were out in my car, and he suddenly lost control of his hands and drew a picture of a buzzsaw on the window. And that's about the last thing I remember. And when I had my accident, at the exact spot where he had drawn the buzzsaw had been smashed during the accident as if by a head, but there was nobody else in the car but me. It was impossible for me to hit there in the window of the car. Alex says, did you feel anyone in the car when you were driving the car along, Michael? Michael says, I have no recollection. Alex says, no recollection. Could you relate concerning converting the buzzsaw, what incident had happened earlier? Mike says, well, we had found out that 20 years ago, a boy of 16 was killed by a buzzsaw. It split his head in half. Alex says, the other thing I would like to know is what has been reported on your way to the hospital in the ambulance. Am I right, Michael? Mike says, on the way to Brooklawn, I was told I was screaming, cut it out, Mike. And anybody that got near me, I would punch. I don't know what I meant. I just kept screaming, cut it out, Mike. Alex says, how long were you in the hospital? Mike replies, 2.5 weeks. Alex says, do you remember any of those 2.5 weeks at all? Mike replies with 4 days, and then there's a space, and then it says friends.
Yeah. Then Alex Tana says, Paul Kenyon, we would like to hear what you saw in this house one evening. I believe it was. And Paul says, yes, I was standing over Mike, and I sat in Mr. Dandy's chair, and it seemed to move. And I got up, being scared a little bit, and we were fooling around, and I saw something behind the chair. So we both blew smoke at it, and it seemed to outline it in some detail. So I punched it with my hand, and Randy kind of went into a fit of some kind. And Alex says, was this the first time you had noticed something in the Dandy home? And Paul said, not really, no. I had a feeling sometimes that something was moving about or something like this. Alex replies, we have just gone through what I call de-psyching a house, where there is a lot of energy. I don't call it exorcism. And of course, Father Alphonsus did the exorcism also with a prayer. To those of the Dandy home who participated in this, did any one of you have any feelings? Can we start with you? What feeling did you have? Did you have any unusual feelings while we were praying together? And in the script, it says a girl, so it's one of the Dandy girls. It says, well, I just felt like the time, and then there's a space, room ghosts that time. So I'm going to guess that was probably Beth. And then Alex says, in other words, you felt very peaceful. Yes, very peaceful. How about you? And then he turns to a man, and since he wanted to ask the people in the Dandy house, I don't know who this other man was. Maybe it was Phil. The man says, I wasn't in it. And Alex Tana says to another man, how about you? And this other man says, I didn't feel anything strange, just my ears were burning, but I attributed that to the lights. So I'm guessing they were warm, hot studio lights. Alex says, over here, what about you? And another man says, not really anything. Was there any kind of anything peaceful at all that was no change with you? How about you? Did you? And another girl, number 2, said, well, I got, and then there's a gap. Alex Tanis then says, in other words, you felt a more peaceful atmosphere. And that girl says, yes.
Page
So was that
16.
second girl? Was that second girl one of the dandy girls, or was it a girl from the NYU?
I think it was the crew. I think he was talking to the crew too.
Oh.
To get their feelings of what was going on, because the whole crew was following him around the house like a bunch of ants.
Oh. Page 16. Alex says, how many heard the cry on the outside? Did anybody hear it? I didn't hear it, but I just wondered how many heard it. You heard it in the kitchen? Well, now turn it over to Father Alphonsus, who has been extremely helpful in all of this, for which we are very thankful. And we'd like to have you summarize how you feel being a clergyman over here at St. Bonaventure, the university, I believe. Father says, well, I would say I have been investigating hauntings of this kind for a long, long time, and this is the most complex that I have ever come across. I think you yourself mentioned it was too. We have the combination of so much poltergeist phenomenon plus so many apparitions. I don't think there are any causes on record that shows this. And what I do believe that members of the family have produced a psychic energy which certain entities are using to manifest themselves. And I think that between the things that we both did, I think that we have been able to control them, and I hope we got rid of them. How do you feel about that? Alex answers, I feel that we have gotten rid of them. I felt much more at ease this time than the first time that I came in, although we were working very intensely in trying to de-psych the house itself. And after it was all over, I felt very content with myself. I think you did also. As we were talking, some of the experiences that we had shared, it was very, very happy. I was very, very happy that you were close by at one moment from what has been said. I don't know what I would have done. I guess the good Lord sent you along to, I think there's a space there. But I will agree with you, and we had spoken about this prior, that both the energy in the house, I mean the people living in the house, and the energies that had been left in the house or in the area a number of years had gathered here, and therefore the children and the friends who had been visiting here had been able to kind of mix these energies together, which had been causing the phenomena. And that's why in our work or our de-psyching the house with the prayers to ask for the evil energy to go, even to leave those who were not present, and to bring in the good energy in which we'll start building up, in which nothing will happen again. Prayerfully this way. So I think that in all, you should not fear what has happened in the house prior, but just sort of have a strong will now and leave it strong so that you will not let any other energies come in from any forces from any other place. It will depend on you greatly now to battle the rest, fight the rest of the battle. The victory has been won, but there is still a personal battle that you are going to have to work with. So this is how I feel about it.
And then a man says, you can't leave it as a vacuum. And Alex Tana says, no, you cannot. Then another man, who I wonder if it's Father Al, says, you have to build up either a prayerful spirit or a spirit of love or positive vibrations, whatever term you want to use. But you have to build that in your own life. Otherwise, you're open to all kinds of psychic forces. Alex Tanis replies, you don't have to be in a house like this. You could be walking on the street. You could be picking up some of these vibrations, and you can carry them back with you. So in other words, you have to build what I call a positive attitude of mind, and to remember that whatever positive attitude you have will be for the good, and to stop feeling. That's the first thing. Then a man from the crew says, all right, cut. Let's get one. Alex Tana says, those birds seem to be very happy now. Then there's a period of the crew talking. Then a woman says, well, first, there's a gap. Disturbances began on June 29th, 1970. Do you think that woman would be Clara?
I'll bet you.
Who else would know that the disturbances began? And so I'm going to put a little notation there. So presumably Clara said, well, first, disturbances began on June 29th, 1970. Alex asks, and what was this that happened? And that same woman said, well, first we had noise without action, a window slamming. That has to be Clara, yes.
Uh-huh.
First we had noise without action, a window slamming when it didn't slam. We had things falling when they didn't really fall. And then we had action without noise, a lamp being broken, and we didn't hear anything, things like this. Alex replies, when was your strongest point? Do you remember the highest peak of all that was happening? And the woman said, when was I most nervous? And Alex replies, most nervous. And the woman says, oh, gee, I think the thing that frightened me most was some kind of a furry creature jumping on Beth. Yeah, that has to be her. Because it frightened her so badly. I knew how scared she was when she came down, when she was hysterical. I knew it was not one of our animals. I had them downstairs, so I think that was what frightened me most. And somebody says, okay.
Page 18 is the ending. Okay, that's a wrap. Very good. Crew talking. Father, thank you very much. I'm glad you were around when that happened. Are you going to be here tomorrow? This is a wrap for everything in the house, which I will do tomorrow. End of story.
Well, that transcript is interesting.
Yes, to say the least. Wow.
Well,
there was a lot of talk on the 14th. There was a lot of interviews on the 14th. There was a lot of walking the grounds on the 14th. We walked from the house all the way to the hanging tree. Alex was looking around and talking to whoever, talking to us, talking to Clara. He said at one point that we would find two graves with purple flowers down at the field right across from the house, all the way down to the far wicked witch of the west, so west the northwest corner of that field.
Careful.
I gotta remember. Hi, Melinda. That's when right now when he was walking through the area, and he said we would also find two more graves down by, that would be the northwest. Is that right? West. That's west. That's, yeah. Geez, I'm terrible with compasses. Northwest corner of that field with purple flowers. And when he got down by right next to in front of the hanging tree.
There is a message for you.
My phone doesn't say that anymore. What kind of garbage is that? I shut that off months ago. He said that he hears the name Clarice, and I don't, he's not saying that because of Clara's name being so close. But he said the name Clarice, and that's never been even in, a spirit box that I know of, but you never know what you're going to hear in a spirit box. But he walked and he kept looking, and he'd stop for a moment, and you could watch his eyes. I was only at the angle where I could see him maybe twice, maybe three times, but twice that I remember, when he was walking and he's looking and he's watching something move like this slowly. And that's when he also brought up, the fact about the wagon train came through this way, came up along and continued through that way. And he's pointing at, the house behind him. So
Wow.
did he have the strength of the spiritual guidance to say that? And then we hear about the, I mean, he was the first one that ever mentioned the stagecoach. Nobody ever did before that. Nobody had any inkling of a stagecoach going through there up until 1974. In Clara's book and my book, based our books a lot, other than the personal experiences, everything else was based on what Alex saw, what Alex
Mm-hmm.
felt, what Alex derived from the house. So, and Alex said there were seven spirits in November of 73 on his first visit, but he could only pick up on one that that was in the house that was strong, and that was a female. So I don't know what to think of it.
So
And I
Alex was
really
first there on November 17th, 73.
sometime in the fall, I don't know the exact date. It was in the fall of 73
And
when he
this
came up.
this took place when? April.
This this
Yeah,
is April 13th
April
of
13th.
74. So I'm confused about the transcript, him talking to, or, well, he's talking about energies on 73, but he said there was only one spirit that he felt strongly in the house. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
we were confused from seven to
Right.
one, being lied to or whatever. But I do want to tell everybody I've got a lot of feelers after. Jesus, so it's kind of ludicrous to even say this, but I had graduate students looking through the archives for me. Well, they say they were. I was gracious enough to send them some bucks, not a lot, but enough to say thank you. And they were looking through the archives of NYU. They had at the time three different TV stations. Three, I don't know if you could call them stations or not, but kind of like what the Buzz does down here at Bona's. Um, Audio visual. They had separate entities on the campus. And now I just talked to Alice Tanis Kelly, Alex's niece, Alice Tanis Kelly. And she will at the end of April. Isn't this weird? Because I wrote back to her and said, I hope you don't drop a bomb on me. She said, by the end of April. I said, I hope you don't drop a bomb on me and send me a message on the April 13th or 14th and tell me you found something very crucial to the Dandy House, because those are the 2 days. And the fact that Alex shook my hand in the fall of 73 and said April 14th. That's all he said to me. Those were the first two words. He didn't say, nice to meet you, pleased to meet you, how are you doing? He shook my hand, looked at me, and said, April 14th. And I said, what about it? I don't know where I would get the inclination to say something like that, to think that fast, but I did. And he said, yeah, that's your birthday, Paul. And I looked at Father and Clara, and they didn't know my birthday. Nobody knew my birthday up there. I'd bet you $10 right now Clara doesn't know my birthday. So wouldn't it be ironic, because I told Alice that Alex told me after the exorcism, the house wants answers from you. And he said, you. Let me emphasize that word, you. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? And I never
Right.
did ask him, what do can you clarify that? I was frankly afraid of the guy. Not afraid, but um, I don't know what the right word would be.
Yeah.
Not apprehensive, but I was kind of in awe, because it may sound weird. I mean, you're seeing pictures of Alex, but when you see him in person and he looks directly into your eyes, even today, and I'm 72 years old almost, and it still gets to me when I think about it. When I think of looking into this man's eyes, it's like looking into something that is very holy. That's the best word I can use. I mean, he wasn't. He was no, not even intimidated, Mike. It was more of a holy feeling. Like, I didn't meet, I saw him. We were in Phoenix when the Pope came through, and he stopped at a red light and looked right at all of us. And I know we caught eyes for a brief moment, but it's just a really strange feeling when you were raised Catholic and you meet someone who's very, very holy. It's very humbling to meet someone like that. If you're a devout Catholic, you are very you feel so small against them. At least I do. Uh, my aunt was a nun, and when she came to the house around Christmas time to visit, it was always such a strange feeling to have somebody who dedicates their life to God, who's in your presence, and it's just a really weird feeling. But when I looked at Al, that's how I felt. That's how I felt around him. I don't.
Hey, can I get some clarification on something I saw in here? It's part that Link read. You two probably know all about it. I've never heard this piece of it. It's on page 14 of the transcripts. And Alex Tanis asks Michael Dandy, Michael, would you tell us about your accident? And Michael says, October 20th, a friend of mine and I were out in my car, and he suddenly lost control. So the friend, he suddenly lost control of his hands, and he drew a picture of a buzzsaw on the window.
Yeah, I remember.
Windshield.
I remember
Clara. And that's about the last thing I remember. And when I had my accident, at the exact spot where you had drawn that buzzsaw had been smashed during the accident, as if by a head, but there was nobody else in the car but me. So who was the friend who lost control of his hands and drew the buzzsaw on the windshield, presumably?
Well, now because Randy wasn't with him, Mike Neff wasn't with him, Dave Thompson wasn't with him. There's no one else to put in that car.
So I wonder if he's saying before that happened. I don't want to assume but I wonder if maybe before the accident, they were out for a drive with a friend. The friend kind of lost control of his hands. These are Mike's words. Drew a buzzsaw, and I assume the blade, on the window. Yeah. And then later on, be it the next day, the next week, the next month, where that buzzsaw was, that's where the impact was. And they crashed right at that spot when he drew the... Anyway, I thought that was first confusing to me. Second,
I thought he was talking about two incidences. He was first talking about when he had a rider, and then he was saying again, and then he didn't say a while later, but I think what he meant was, and then the second incident at the same spot in the road is what it sounded like to me when I was reading it.
No, I think it's the same. But let me throw this out there. Is it possible Mike had a passenger riding with him before that, but he didn't?
Right.
Jesus Christ, I came and asked him that.
And the only one, obviously, if we make a connection to buzzsaw, I presume that on April 13th, 1974, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Dandy family didn't know anything about the Emerson family, the boy getting killed.
Not at all. Not at all.
So how could you explain a buzzsaw, that exact term?
Wow, you just,
I know.
Sometimes you can read something and you can read it aloud and not catch every nuance of what you're reading. But you just did.
Well,
that never
the
dawned
way this
on
is written, Paul. This is written horribly. Especially the way this is written, it's written horribly.
It is written horribly. It's terrible.
Link was reading that, and I thought, what the heck?
I never put that together. And I had read this a couple different times. But I remember Mike saying that, but it still didn't dawn on me. I didn't say, wait a minute. This is 73. This is 74. Even at that point, they didn't. Well, yes, they did. They knew about, in 73, they knew about the accident with Alfred Cowell hitting the kid, but they didn't know it was Alfred Emerson that he hit. He hit a kid. So where the hell did the buzzsaw thing even come in?
Right. Of all the things you could draw a star, you could draw an X, but a buzzsaw?
Even an
I
alien
thought that
doesn't
was really
matter.
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know how I'll
Crazy,
be
huh?
calling tonight. Reverence is a good word, Alfalfa Kim, and that's what I couldn't come up with because I'm old. I can remember anything 40 years and back, but I can't. I don't even remember how much money I took out of the ATM. Hi, Carrie. Well, say hi to Carrie. She was one of our guest talents on here, Link.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Carrie.
Well, I would really like to take the time
Holy
to go through
cow.
this
That's
and
kind of rocking my head
rewrite,
right now.
not rewrite this, but I'd like to take the time
Everybody heard
to
the house
clean this up.
stream. Everybody heard the house stream, Melinda, including me. I was sitting right in the doorway with two of the crew members.
Well,
And
except for Alex, because he said he didn't hear it. Did anybody else hear it?
Yeah. So Alex was in kind of a trance at this time, right?
Right.
And then later on, he's saying, "Okay, what did I say? What did you experience? What?" And
I would never ever think this. There'd be no reason for me to ever think that anyhow. I don't think anybody ever would, except those who really scoff. But when Alex came down after the lecture at St. Bonaventure, we got back to the house before Alex and Father. When they came to the back door and he walked in, the reverence feeling it immediately hit me. I was okay. Blake will know exactly where I'm standing. I'm standing between the stove and the table. I was standing right there when he came in the back door. Father came in first. Alex came in. Uh, uh, Mary was over by the kitchen door. Clara was right in front of her. I'm sorry, Laura was by the kitchen door. Clara in front of her. Mary was behind me, but over toward the where the door is now. That wasn't there then. Um, and I can't remember where Mike or Beth were. But anyhow, when he walked in, uh, God Almighty, I mean, everybody that I want to talk to, that I want to clarify things with, are gone.
Yep.
Everybody. Father's gone. Alex is gone. Mike is gone. Laura is gone. All right, Paul. We'll see you in June for sure. I'll be calling Clara later on tonight. She's 3 hours behind, so it's only 4 o'clock. I would call her right now while we're live. But the last conversation I had with Clara is she doesn't care, and she's working on something right now, anyhow. And I shouldn't say it that way. She doesn't care, but she just doesn't want to get involved to the point where she's in the limelight again, because she's been in the limelight several times, and each time she got burned badly. But she should know, of all people, I'm one that would never hurt her, and I stick up for it every way I can. How well is the transcript how well known is the transcript to the cleansing? Well, I've never given it out to anybody but Mike Rambacher, and it mysteriously fell into his hand because he was a bum. I think Dan does have it. I don't think too many. I don't think too many people have it. But Alice
did you
told
get?
me, huh?
Huh?
Did you give Dan a copy of the transcript, or did you get it from another source?
He must have gotten it elsewhere. I didn't give him one. I won't give it out no more. I'll never give
Whatever
it to
he got.
anybody. You want to get it? Go through the channels and find it. I hate to be rude, but after I got burned by, yeah, you know what, Jade, I'm scatterbrained right now. But when I was reading the parts, there were a couple of parts when I was reading, Jade, that you came to mind immediately. And why do I smell food cooking? I don't even have a sense of smell anymore. I don't. Since COVID, I've had very little smell. Um, but a couple parts came to mind. So we'll have to sit on the dock of the bay out there. June 22nd, Jade, by the way. I don't know if I even told you. June 22nd. That's right. Saturday, June 22nd.
I'll have to pull a calendar.
Sure, you don't want to pull up your itinerary.
I'd have to search for where it is. All I know is I sent it. June 22, yeah.
Okay. Well, you said 11 to 2, but we can probably extend that a little bit because we're going to have Wednesday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Wednesday to really bust a gut on some things.
Yeah.
I don't think the room link, it probably won't take us more than to prep it, stripe it, paint it, 4 hours
yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Let it air out.
Yeah,
You know,
even if we fight about the colors or whatever.
I ain't got to fight about it. You can paint it black for all I care. That'll really be dark in that room.
Yeah.
I hope Dan's watching so he can hear it out loud. That I'm going to rip the paneling off the ceiling in the master bedroom.
Dan, just relax. It'll be all right. Don't want to give you a heart attack.
I just said Clara doesn't want to be in the limelight. She's tired of being hurt.
Yeah. So
I'm just answering. I'm answering Kelly.
It's not hard to confuse you, Kelly, or what's not hard?
I'm confused, but it's not hard. Yeah, it's a hard to confuse her. Anybody have any questions about anything pertaining to the house? Let me ask a question. And you know, you don't even have to be you don't even have to answer. If you want to, you can send me a private message and I won't share it. That's a promise. But how many agree that the paranormal community needs people who debunk the liars, the fakers, the cheaters, all of that? How many watch any of those channels that really, analyze other people's work? Because I sure do.
Yeah, I watch.
But I was a skeptic my entire life. Paul, was April 14th just your birthday? Or was that when you were hit by that? No, it wasn't. I didn't get hit on my birthday. No, I couldn't even tell you what date that was. I don't even know. It was warm out, so it could have been any time between May and August. I honestly don't remember the month. I really don't. I would say probably about the middle of summer, maybe late June through the end of July, around that time. Whatever's cooking, it smells good, and I love that. I don't. A real paranormal expert should do everything to debunk it before believing. Yeah, I agree, but I'm not talking about a real paranormal There are no experts, Kelly. I don't even want. I don't even want to hear that word expert. There are no experts. Um, I don't think they should have to um, debunk their own stuff. They just have to be honest with people. I do have a question. Why was the Saint Michael prayer used by Father Al? The Saint Michael prayer is the prayer of exorcism, anyhow, part of it. Why did he think that? Why did he think that would be effective in common the spiritual activity or spelling of questions? Do you have the Roman ritual? I've got a copy of it. I've got a copy of the Roman ritual of Saint Michael. Yeah, there you go. Melinda just said it too. Saint Michael is the protector, and you'll see Saint Michael's name used many, many, many times in the Roman ritual. He was he was trying to protect the family from whatever was there, and he was also trying to rid the house of entities, energies, spirits, ghosts, whatever. He never felt anything demonic there. But I'm going to say this on a go out on a limb and say, who the hell can feel demonic? Who can feel a demon? Who can say that that's not some miserable sob from the in the afterlife that was a miserable sob alive that is just carrying out his miserable life? Yeah, he
Now
wanted
you
to
sound like
banish.
Marianne.
Huh?
Now you sound like Marianne Winkowski.
Why? What did she say?
She said the same thing, that if somebody was miserable in their
Oh,
life and they decided to
Yeah.
not continue on where they're supposed to continue on and remain earthbound, they're going to be miserable. They're going to be miserable people.
Right.
I just always believed that a demon was one who was cast out, and I don't think I used to think anyhow that God wouldn't allow that demon to come toward people. I don't know. I don't know because there's so many aspects with the Catholic religion who are the ones that hide it in the closet. They don't so much anymore. They don't hide the Roman ritual in the closet these days.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the church would say God allows demons to do that, but God keeps them on a very short leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul,
Yeah,
during
that's
this
what I've
whole
heard.
house cleansing, was Phil there, or did Phil decide to go somewhere else?
No, he was there.
He was there. Okay.
Yeah.
He must be
But
one of
I'm
the men
wondering.
who. Was
Well, yeah,
asked.
because during the in the beginning, well, even toward the end, what you were reading, every once in a while there would be a entry from. It just says man. Man
Right.
was talking, and he was talking like a crew member. So
I am going to guess this transcript was typed by somebody either from St. Bonaventure or from the Alex Tanis Society for whatever the name of it is.
Carrie,
There are words and phrases in there that are capitalized that I think that I think Catholics would probably know to capitalize them.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Well, yeah. If you're talking about God, you're going to capitalize he or him. Or,
Even beyond that, there are
Yeah.
just phrases in here that I picked up that I underlined that said I don't know. That's my guess. So I wonder if Father Al did have a copy of this tape and one of his students did transcribe it, or if he himself transcribed
maybe
it.
maybe that's the tape that's in the one archive too.
Gotta get up there.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I believe I can. Okay, Carrie said I believe I can only because I dealt with the demonic before, and it's not because I'm a psychic medium. It's because I dealt with it and I think I can feel it. I'm sure I can please no. I'm sure I can please no judging, place no judging, but I can believe that. Okay. God gives free will to man. He doesn't give free will to those who are dead. I mean, I don't. Again, I was raised Catholic, but I don't believe in purgatory. I don't believe in the limbo area. I don't think that or that plane exists. I think there's heaven and there's cast out. I don't know if it's fiery depths of hell. How can you burn the rest of your life? I mean, how can the Franciscans have archives that are of great extent? If Father did have a copy, they might have it. Well, he's got everything. Actually, in the library, when you walk in the front door of the library, there's a large room to your left. If you follow that room all the way to the end and against the wall, all of those bookcases are Father Alice private collection. Everything. It goes from the Amityville to the 1400s. It's got everything in the world to do with theology, with black magic, with voodoo, with everything this man studied. Everything. He didn't just read a book about it. He went out there and got involved in it. That could be Kelly, living hell on earth. I know I've had my piece of it. I guess we all have at one time or another. Father Al stuff are in the main reading room. When you walk in the front door of the library, take a left down into that reading room, which goes way back, extended large room, and against the back, that side wall as you turn left straight ahead of you, there's a whole, there's one, two, three, I think there's 4 to 6 bookcases all stuck together, and they're very large, old, antique bookcases full of Father Al's stuff. Just say, where's Father Alex Treble's collection? They'll probably just say right over there against that wall.
So, Paul, was Alex Tanis ever burned in the house?
He was in Mary's room. I think that's
Was it
in that part.
was it
Part you were reading,
74 or was it his first time there?
that would have been prior to the exorcism.
Okay.
Walking through all of this stuff, where he said, "I know you burned me."
Yeah. But then he says, I don't recall saying that in 1974. He doesn't recall saying that. So again, I guess he was in that trance.
That's. I'm glad you brought that up again. When he in the fall of '73, he walked through the house. Clara walked him through. I do believe Father Al went with him. We were just kind of hanging in the kitchen. I think I was going to steal a handful of Captain Crunch out of it. I used to eat Captain Crunch all the time, and
You were
when he
hungry.
came, we went into the living room. We were just sitting in there, waiting for them to come downstairs. He walked in front of Phil's chair was an ottoman, and he sat on that ottoman, and he put his head down. He just sat, and then he brought his hand up to his forehead. And when his face came up, he looked like he was 40 years older than he was when he walked in the back door. I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. He looked like a very old man, very tired old man. So I mean, maybe what he had really took it out of him when he confronted whatever it was. But I want to hear this tape. I want to hear the tape. It's got to be in. I'm going to have a backroom talk with Dennis Frank and say, "Hey, Denny, come on, help me out, will you?" Because there are private, and I wouldn't expect him to do this anyhow. I mean, you can't do that, but there are private boxes of his archives that are not available to the public. There are several.
And why would that be, do you think? There are names
I
written in
really
there
don't.
that for confidentiality.
I'm sure something's confidential, but it would be of particular people or of particular sites or a particular exorcisms or anything that he did in the past. I don't know, Jonathan. I really don't know, but I'll ask Dennis point blank. First time I met Dennis, I really didn't have I was just giddy to be able to sit down and him bring 3 crates in front of me. They're like the old cardboard, with the lids on them, the big cardboard portfolio boxes with the lids on them. He set them down on the floor in front of me, and he said, "Well, there you go. Have at it. Do what you want. There's a copy machine right up the stairs and right behind the pole there, and you have to pay for your copies, of course." Which I had to keep going over to the front desk and saying, "I need a bunch of more dimes. I don't have any more dimes." So I went around the library asking students, "Do you have any dimes in your pocket?" I remember one girl gave me 6 and I gave her $1 anyhow.
That's funny.
But this time, the next time I go to his archives, I'm getting copies of everything all the way back from 1944 when he was doing research on Hitler.
Bring your cell phone. Photograph everything.
Yeah, well, who thinks about that when you got a flip phone way back then?
Well, no, this time though.
Yeah. Rule from the Catholic Church or by the priest or family. Confidentiality. That too, but a lot of his stuff is open to the public, Mike, including the well, I think I'm sure I remember seeing a copy of this in his collection. But I have Alice will now have access to everything Alex Tanis, her uncle, had in his archives. Look at this. I got a pen down here called Andover Haunted House, Andover, New York. And I have the archivist of NYU giddy to the point of I can't wait to start researching this. So, maybe something's going to finally fall through the cracks and come our way. Jan Kahn was, I won't say the leader of the film crew with Alex, but she was one of 7 that came. She was doing her thesis on psychic phenomenon, because back in the 70s, this was a big thing. It was a big thing. And the idea that they had all these films, all this film footage, in whether in tin cans or cases or whatever, the fire marshal comes in there and sees that, and he's going to say, because film is extremely flammable. And you get a fire started with film, and you're going to have a building gone in no time at all. And there were hundreds and thousands of reels of film in this archive. Now, I've been told that a lot of the stuff from NYU has now been transferred over to Columbia University, and I've been told that a lot of the stuff from the New York Psychical Research Center went to other places, and a lot of it was destroyed by the government. Where the hell they get their permission or their clout to do that is beyond me. He was saying Father Al told him one of the exorcisms almost killed him. Father Al said that to your dad?
One of the exorcisms, so I wonder how many he performed. That's probably in the restricted materials.
It probably would be. Man, I mean, he's been dead for what? 19 years. I came back in 99. I saw him in 99. I saw him 3 or 4 times in 99, once in 2000, and I left him alone. Why did I leave him alone? He was a friend. We didn't have to talk about the house, but I knew every time I went to see him, I'd want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget sitting on the bench with him and how he was an ailing man too. He had a lot of medical problems, but I was sitting to his right, he was sitting here, and we were just facing the parking lot. We were talking about everything. I told him about the cab company and how I wanted to get everything, get it going really big and strong. If I had the chance to do that, that would be so good to, make sure the kids go, oh, geez, what a voice he had when he talked, when he's just talking normal and talking as a friend. He's so quiet. And when I said, and I just blurted it out during all this talk about the campus, how big it was, and how they, at one time, the front lawn was in the Guinness Book of World Records. I don't even know, maybe it still is. And we talked, didn't say nothing for 30 seconds or so. And I say, why didn't you come the second day? And he didn't look at me, and I didn't look at him because I was embarrassed for saying that. And all he said was, I know that it didn't work. And the way the way he said it, the tone in his, if you watch the tone of the thing that Link and I just uploaded about Father Al talking about the house, you can hear the distraught feeling in his voice. He doesn't like to deal with some of this crap, but he was defeated. The house defeated him. He knew the house defeated him. And that's a hard thing to take when you're that strong of a man. And if you, I mean, if you look at, if you go to say Bonaventure University EDU and type in Father Al, you're going to get pictures of him. And you're going to see the two front rows of his classroom completely empty because he would not allow students to sit in those classrooms. Only spirits were allowed to sit there. And it's cool that he would think that way.
So when you asked him why I didn't come back the second day, you mean the day after all this?
On my birthday, yeah. Yeah. Why didn't you come back?
Who did go up? Did no one go up in the second day?
Everybody was there. The crew was there. Alex was there. We did all the filming, all the interviews. That's the day that I was sitting on the edge of the couch on the floor, and they had one of those big goofy tripod lamps on right in front of Beth's door. And we were talking, and that lamp, there was nobody anywhere near it. It didn't just fall, it was thrown right in front of me that way, toward the front windows. From there, it didn't go all the way over there, but it landed about the center of the room. And it didn't just fall and land there because the length of the thing was maybe 5 foot tall, 5'2". Look who's calling me. Clara Miller.
Oh my God.
I'm going to mute a second.
Do it.
Yeah.
Speakerphone. No, you have to ask her first.
Right. She'll hang up. And that's all right.
So I'm just curious. So on this day was the house cleansing with Father Al and Alex and the family and the film crew. And they came up a second day. Father Al was not there. Alex Tanis was. The NYU film crew was. What were they filming if they weren't filming, if they had already filmed this? Were they filling in gaps? Were they walking around the house? What were they doing?
I think what I gathered from Clara's book was that they were just wrapping up. They were discussing how things went. I think because she was doing this thesis, it was like, I don't know what they're called, but it's like the end scene, if you will, of the thesis where people can talk freely about how things went and everything, and getting firsthand. I don't know much about doing thesis work, but I got the impression that instead of her saying, so in my opinion, everything went well, blah, 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 she's going to get firsthand. I think that's what she wanted, because she wanted Paul to say what he really felt. And of course he wouldn't, because Tanis was there and he was 18 or 22 or whatever he was, just a kid. And he didn't want to buck up against somebody well known, and just threw a curveball at him, telling him his birthday the day before. He didn't feel qualified, and I think she wanted that follow-up conversation so that she could probably turn it in with her homework, is what I really,
Do it now. Okay.
So where's that transcript?
Hi, everybody. It's just me.
There
Hi,
she
Clara.
is, the one and only Clara
Hello,
Miller.
Clara.
Clara.
No, I'm telling you. You watch the chat in about 10 seconds, people are going to be having hearts up there,
Oh my
and smiley faces and everything else.
Oh, yeah, right.
We love you.
So I wondered, if there's no chance that him...
Oh, God. I'm so happy I got to hear her voice. No, I got the impression that, she was just following, doing the ending, the closing of her thesis. She didn't know the Dandy family. She was just there to get her I mean, I think she did a good job. It's nothing against this lady, this girl, but I think they were all there to get a grade, you know, and I thought they did well. Everything according to Clara, you know, they were very respectful and they did what they had to do. They were listening to Alex. They were listening to Father Al. But
Well, they
at
had
the
a
end of the
tape
day,
No, they had a tape of this, and somebody transcribed it. So it would be an interesting follow up to see, or
you
read
know,
the transcript of what was talked about that day.
and when you guys were talking about it, the extensive exorcism YouTubes that I watch, which I mean, it's a YouTube is a YouTube, but when you have well-known, according to them, they're well-known exorcists on there and they're talking about it, they are never ever meant for public view. They can never have anyone from the media. You can never have like a family member that doesn't understand how severe and serious the matter is, because if the devil is in this person who they're exorcising, they can take over the weakest link. And it can never be on TV. It can, you know, so it wouldn't surprise me if that exorcism video was hidden on purpose because of the Catholic rules that it can't ever be public. So it wouldn't surprise me if they hid it, whatever they do, it wouldn't surprise me if it's hidden. And with the things that I just read recently, with what someone had reported out on, and I don't know their names, I'm not hiding the names. They said that one copy or may have gone to the Catholic, whatever word they used, but like the organization. So that tells me it might not be in Father Al's possession, but in some other Catholic area where it incorporates the religion, not just St. Bonaventure. So I will bet that it's not even at St. Bonaventure. It's probably protected and hidden in a place where this region of Catholic churches send their most sensitive stuff.
Right.
I don't mean to be a negative Nancy or whatever the word is, you know, that people use nowadays. I don't mean to be negative, but you know what I'm saying?
But in this case, it wasn't the church that was recording it. It was NYU.
True.
The Catholic Church didn't go to NYU and say, "Hey, we want that tape." NYU could say,
"I know,
no."
And it was not a real exorcism. So
right.
To me, yes, it's possible, but if they're going to treat it like a real exorcism, then God only knows who ended up with it. If they're going to treat it like one, because the people who are involved to date seem to understand how serious and how big of a deal that this matter is or was at the time. The people, you know, in schools or the Tanis Foundation, they look at it as being a huge deal, even though it wasn't a real exorcism, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be the negative one, but I just feel that because of how they are feeling about it, even though it wasn't a real exorcism.
Yeah, I don't think it's being hidden by the Catholic. I think it's NYU. They lost track of it.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, how many films did they have at NYU? It's a huge school. But
right.
That's why I said to Paul, my intuition is that somebody higher up said to Father Alphonsus, you either shouldn't have done this without our approval, or you did this one, you're not going back and doing any more for whatever reason, maybe because you need higher authority to do that sort of thing. That's why he probably didn't go back.
But all of those film, I kind of disagree with the concept of, yeah, they're flammable. They might be flammable, but they're in these metal cases for a reason. The rooms usually have water that'll come down in the old days. Now, if there's something with the film, the storage rooms, maybe there's a new way to put out fires, but that's all in metal cases. And unless something sparked the film inside of a metal case, if it wouldn't even be able to start on fire. I mean, maybe it could, but it's in these metal cases. They don't just lay them out. They're always tight in these metal cases. So the fire hazard part, I don't know.
I don't know about 70s film, but I know old film does spontaneously combust.
Okay.
So even if it's in the case, I agree with you. It's in a metal case. It's going to happen. But I don't know. Could it blow the lid off the case? Could it explode like a bomb? I don't know.
That just doesn't sound right. I mean, they've been handling film for years and years, and I don't think I have ever heard that film caused a fire and everything burned down. Maybe it has happened, but I've never heard of it, and I wasn't born yesterday. I don't know.
Well, and archives have a finite amount of space, and every year they're getting more and more and more, and eventually you have to go through it and say, I don't even know what this is. Let's get rid of it. So well, I just hope that Paul can come up with something.
It doesn't help that they sent it to another place, that possibly sent it to Colombia. I didn't really hear the reasoning for that, but
right, that's conjecture.
Yeah,
just because they may have sent something to Colombia doesn't mean they sent this film to Colombia.
Okay.
But who knows? Who knows? I think if anything, well, I shouldn't say NYU's not going to find something, but I don't know if they're going to find this film. I think this transcript is interesting.
Oh, yeah. I didn't read it. I wanted to be first time reading it and soaking in everything that I was reading as the people who are watching. I wanted it. I didn't want to cheat and read it, and it was all very interesting. When I was reading the part about Mike, I thought it right away. I'm like, what? He went by this place before with a buddy of his? I swear, Clara, I'm thinking to this as I'm reading. Didn't Clara mention something about somebody oh no, that was her. I know she had an incident where she was drawing on the car window in the fog, or
Clara was.
Yeah, Clara.
I remember that.
But she didn't write about Mike. I don't think. And when I was reading it, I was getting confused on Clara's book because I know she had written something like that. And then I thought, are you telling me that Mike drove by this spot, like he did all the time, and one time he had a kid in there and he was this kid was drawing on the window, and then another time, because it was confusing as how it was read, how I was reading it sounded like when he went by this spot again, it happened at the same spot.
Yep.
So to me it sounded like two incidences, not one. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
So here it is again, verbatim from the transcript.
Yeah, please.
Alex Tanis asks, Michael, would you tell us about your accident that you had, as much as you can remember, and we will see if we can fill in from there. And Michael replies, October 20th. I wonder if his accident occurred on October 20th. October 20th, a friend of mine and I were out in my car. Well, no, so his accident couldn't have happened on the 20th if he was with a friend, because when he had the accident, was he alone or was he with a friend?
He was allegedly alone.
Okay, that's what I thought. So Michael says, Michael Dandy, October 20th, a friend of mine and I were out in my car, and he suddenly lost control of his hands and drew a picture of a buzzsaw in the window. And that's about the last thing I remember. And when I had my accident, so there's another part. And when I had my accident, the exact spot where he had drawn that buzzsaw had been smashed during the accident, as if by a head, but there was nobody else in the car but me.
See, he just said when I had my accident, it happened at the same spot that his friend who was in the car, and I thought an earlier day. That's why I thought that.
Unless, imagine if it was earlier in the day. When does accident happen in the evening, at afternoon?
Yeah,
I'll have to go back.
I don't have put the book away.
Yeah, I'm not in my office tonight, so I don't.
Oh, yeah, and
It's just interesting to connect those dots, Jeff.
Yes, and I was thinking that when I was reading it first. I'm like, okay, was this 2 days? And I don't even know if anybody knows that Mike had an incident where a kid was drawing in the rider's seat, drawing on the front window because he lost control of his hand. I can't remember if Claire wrote about that. I don't think she did, but it sounded like a different day, because then he says, and then, or whatever words he used, in the same spot that the kid was drawing on the window.
Yeah.
To me, it sounded like it was a different day, and he got into a wreck at the same spot that some kid previously had. But Paul says, no. So I don't want to argue about it. I just let it go and think to myself that it sounds like,
I mean, I suppose a skeptic could say, okay, two teenage kids are in the car. Mike's driving.
And
this other kid, the window's getting foggy. Yeah, he just kind of draws a shape on the window. Whatever.
And he lost control, quote unquote, lost control of his hand, and he was drawing.
Yeah, but maybe he's just horsing around and being goofy or whatever, or who knows what.
But I find,
and maybe the accident happened. Mike thinks the accident happened right in that spot, but maybe it happened half a mile down there. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
I think it was interesting. Mike specifically said that because, of course, this is after the accident, and he's trying to piece things together. Maybe Michael's recollection was wrong about that. But I think the idea that he said buzzsaw.
Yeah, he brought up the buzzsaw, and according to Paul, that was never anything that was talked about way back when. And what are the chances that Mike would have? What's the chances Mike would have known about it? So that's wow, that's a wow right there.
That's why I'd like to see Paul, and if he wants our help, we go back through this transcript, we clean it up. We don't change the words. We just reformat it so it's easy to read. And then Paul, kind of like Clara did with a revisited book, Paul, in maybe brackets, italicized, puts his own little annotations of things.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I had to take a second.
Yeah. We were discussing, Jonathan, what were we discussing? All sorts of things. Yeah.
We were discussing Father Al. We were discussing the location of the videotape of this. We were discussing the day after, what happened to that transcript, if somebody transcribed this and recorded it. Where's that recording? Then we talked about Mike and the buzzsaw again. And
Clara shared some really, really good news with me. She has a producer. I know who he is. I'm not going to say his name. She has a producer who's contacted her.
Wait, did she say we could talk about this?
I wouldn't be talking to you, Link, if she didn't say go ahead.
Just wanted
I'm so happy right now.
I just want everyone else to hear that.
She's got a producer that has offered to do her story about her book and her book only. No fudge. No over exaggerated bullshit like everybody has already done with her. He's going to go from page 1 to the end. He wants to know everybody who was in her life, if they're still alive. So she said, when you get a call from him, just tell him what you got to tell him. And this is a solid thing. Finally, she's going to get her, as she said, her vindication against all the bad that has come to her trying to tell her story, and all they do is lie about it.
Good for her.
He's just going to use her book. Wow, man.
Her book doesn't need any exaggeration to make it fascinating.
No, it doesn't. And that's what I can't understand. But all these people that like the fake rocking chairs and shit in the background have got to make their channels big.
Yeah.
Have a demon walking around.
Her story is, her story is phenomenal. You
sent me a video.
know, on its own.
You sent me a video.
You sent me a video.
You sent me a video. Why am I going to show that? That has nothing to do with what we're doing here. Let me look at it.
God, I was so happy to hear her voice. You have no idea. That just, oh my God. That
Well, I will tell you that she might be squeaking over to her computer in a second.
I
She
was just
does.
happy
She
to
said,
hear
"I'm
her.
just not doing well right now." I said, "If you can talk to me, you can sit on your ass and listen to us."
Right. Yeah.
She'll talk. I'll get her on here. We'll have a discussion just like this. She doesn't want to be on camera, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I'll set her right here, or she can get on StreamYard. I can just do it like this. You heard her well enough, and we can have a conversation.
You know, Paul,
Marcy's-
you are so lucky
Why is that?
because you got to know her.
Oh, I love her to death. I always
Mhm.
have. 50 years, 51 years. She's my second longest friend. My guitarist George has been my friend since 8th grade, and she came in not too much, not too many years after that. All right, I gotta share this with you. Let me get it full screen. Kelly sent a video, and I gotta share it with you. It's real short. It's only 14 seconds long. Let me get my screen up here. Where is it? Which one is it? This one. Let me share that. Let me make it full screen so I can get it all on there. And then I'll hit the play button. Is there volume? Yeah.
Certainly caught Kitty Cat's curiosity.
Oh. That is cute.
I do like going over to Tina's house and feeding the deer. They come by every night the same time. Well, not the same time, but within a 15-minute time frame between 4 and 4:30, somewhere in that area. Here comes 2, here comes 4 from that way, and here comes 6 more from that way. And she's got 25, 30, 40 piles of corn out in the backyard. And salt licks. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to feed the
Right.
wild game, but you know what? I don't care what they say. They deserve to eat good too. After all, we do take all their habitat from them.
That's true.
But I
Did
go
you
out
see
there.
that Marcy said she's at the Dandy House now?
Yeah, I know she's up there. I wish I could go up right now. I'd go up and
Wow.
get the hell out of her from a distance.
Wear your dress.
Are you alone, Marcy? Are you there by yourself? Tina's sick right now. That's why she couldn't get on.
Oh,
That's too bad.
Huh?
that's too
Oh,
bad.
dinner? Okay. Well, we
All right,
are going
I'm
to be
gonna-
long.
Yeah, we're getting 2 hours here, gents.
Yeah. Gents.
All right. I'm coming.
All
She
right.
made a big roast and stuff, so I'm going to feed my face
Good.
in the pressure cooker. Yay. Oh,
All right.
man. That's going to be great.
I want to thank everyone for coming.
Yes, really.
So
Tonight's too busy or busy? Too busy? What's too busy?
it's busy. Tonight's too busy.
All right, everybody. Thanks
All right.
for coming. I'm glad
Busy
you got
with-
to Clara for a few seconds, but I'm going to get around here to have a chat.
Okay.
So I hope you enjoyed the exorcism.
All right.
I hope
Thank
nobody keep your spirits in your house and didn't scare them away. We'll see you all later. Night.
All right. Good night.